All right, Charlie, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I think you're actually the first guest, male or female, who has ever worn a tie on the podcast. And I have to thank you for styling up.
Yes, it's the Curvatory.
It's pretty funny, but you look great, and thank you so much. So, where do we begin this journey of yours from acting, singing, fashion? I mean, should we just take it right back to the beginning?
Hey, let's do it. Let's take it back. First of all, again, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it. I don't take this lightly. And this is again, like I mentioned earlier, my first in-person podcast. So I really like this. I like to be able to engage with the person I'm talking to. So this is great, and I appreciate the opportunity. But
I think it's the only way.
it's
Like I just
perfect.
yeah. The amount of times I've done podcasts and I can tell someone's like got their phone just off screen and their eyes just keep going, that drives me crazy. At least here we're like right in it.
Focus on each other.
Exactly.
Yes, so I started at an early age, of course, singing in the church.
Mhm.
I come from a religious background, Christian, grew up in a Baptist church. Choir was important. I did choir in the church, choir all through school, elementary, all the way through high school, doing competition choirs. So my joy of performing was always there. I always kind of had that bug. I like to talk. So that was kinda how I kinda started, and then I had a mentor early on that used to do, like, the Toastmaster,
Mhm.
like, used to go to and he used to do speech contests all the time, and I got very intrigued about speaking in front of people, and I was like, "God, this seems really like it's gonna be really, really hard," and he was like, "No, actually, you just focus on" especially when you're competing, they have these lights up, and it's like a red light, green light, and they have the yellow kind of warning you when it's almost time to stop or whatever, so I came and became really intrigued about speaking in front of people, so that's kinda how I started, got into acting a little bit more. I started auditioning for different things, commercial, movies, different things. That was kind of fun. And it's like I noticed in LA, because I'm born and raised in Compton.
Mhm.
So I'm a true California.
You're
So
you're you're very rare.
yes, no, they say that everybody is an implant, but no, I am born in California, Harbor City to be exact. Grew up in Compton, like I said, the best city in the world. And like I said, I started doing like different acting gigs and kind of got my, kind of sparked another interest. I'm like, God, there's so many levels to performing.
Mhm.
And as I progressed through that, I auditioned for the School of Arts, which is currently now on the campus of Cal State LA.
Mhm.
I was one of the first, incoming students. It was the very first year of the school. There were no rules. Everybody was free spirits. You got the opportunity to really, like, explore, learn yourself, hone in on your craft. We had amazing teachers that kinda worked in their field, and it just really gave me a love for performing,
That's
and I
amazing.
loved it. So that's kinda really how I just started, just v with a passion of just being around people because sometimes we have so much going on in life,
Mhm.
and when you're in a play or something, you get to become a different character.
Mhm.
And it kinda takes your mind off of maybe the things that you have going on at home or just
Escapism.
is at its finest. So with that being said, that's truly how I kinda got into it. Of course, my parents pushing me, doing different things because you always want more for your kids. My parents grew up in the South and migrated to California. So that's kind of my early beginnings with as far as performing. I've done everything from being at in acting school over at Alphans on Hollywood,
Mhm.
um, training privately, just different things. And like I said, the bulk of my training and my main influence came from the people that I saw around me, my family, my cousins, people in church that I watched, mentors, and different things that way. So that's my background right there.
That's amazing. So let's go back a little bit. So, like, how old were you when your parents first took you to church and you saw the choir and was like, that excites me? Because I've been to church a lot. Like, I grew up Catholic and I went to Catholic schools when I was younger, and I saw people singing in the choir, and I had no interest in getting up there. So I'm just curious, like, what that draw was for you.
It was like I said, and I guess doing it in church, there's no there's no bad voice. You're always encouraged if that's something that you wanna do, you can be the worst singer in the world, but the church is gonna stand by you because you're really singing to glorify God, and of course, eventually, if you have a gift or whatever, you really is an opportunity to hone in on your craft because guess what? Nobody's ever gonna say you're bad. So it's the perfect place to get started. And it's real
Safe
it's a
hands.
safe it says really is a safe zone. And I don't think then and until this moment, I never really even looked at it like that, but that was the best place that I ever could have started. That's what built my confidence. That was I vividly remember sitting in the choir. My mom has passed away now, and I remember, sitting in the choir, and I don't know if you remember, I'm dating myself, but back in the day, Carol Burnett, one of my favorites,
It's the best.
when she the best ever. How when she would sign off, she would pull her ear and, for the person at home and whatever. So I remember those days being in the choir and like my mom on the deaconess board or serving or whatever. And I just would see her do the little tug on her ear. So just little different moments that kind of ground you when you're performing or certain things that there's somebody out there, regardless of knowing that, like I said, in church, everybody roots for you, but knowing that you connected with like a family member or somebody that's like, hey, I got you. I'm like over here. So that's really where it started. And like I said, just seeing the people, the support.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, wait a minute. And then kind of as I got older, I was like, oh, I might be kind of good at this. And it never became a fear anymore it wasn't always about hitting the right note, or if you were a flat a little bit, there was nobody condemning you. So there was, like I said, it was always support. So it was very easy to transition and want to do that. And then I gradually found out about competition choirs and you need people sing and compete. And we get to wear robes and we get the moves and we do the different things. So it it was me. It's in my DNA. It's
That's
embedded in me.
that's awesome. So like what age are we talking about
About
here? Like
7. About
7.
7.
Yeah.
Early, very early, very about 7, started in church, and like I said, from there was history because anybody that I hate to say it, grew up in, like, a Baptist church or whatever, there's levels to the choir.
Mhm.
There's the children's choir, I started in the children's choir, and, I was a little nervous at first, and you get that first solo, and you're like, "Okay, wait," get a little itch behind your ear, it's like, "Okay, wait a minute, this is my kind of fun." Then I progressed and was like, "Okay." Moved up, got a little older, went into what was called at that time, the Voices of Inspiration, where they had because in the kids choir, you didn't really have no uniform, you didn't have no choir robes, you didn't have anything, you just was your T-shirt. We had, like, matching T-shirts and could wear jeans and stuff. Was the dress down day for church.
Mhm.
Did that, and I just continually kept progressing and going up into the choir until I got into the mass choir, and all along using that training doing stuff in school with the choirs, competing, locally in like I said, in competition choirs. It was just something I found joy in, and it was an escape.
That's amazing. I had no idea that like a church would have various levels of choir and then you have to progress to like get to the Sunday level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so and it all, of course, went by age, and then you had, like I said, when you progress from the children's choir, you went into like I said, was called the Voices of Inspiration, and those were that was like the young adult choir, and you're like, it's like, okay, get your first car, you're singing in the choir, you're driving yourself now to choir rehearsal, so it was like a thing, it became a routine, and practice makes perfect, and I learned at a very early age, in order to be good at anything, it takes practice.
And at the same time you were doing the church choirs and stuff like that, was there ever any like program in the school to help like guide you or
Programs in the school, you're
yeah.
absolutely right, and that's why I said in conjunction, it gave me the confidence that I needed to do it, take it into school.
Mhm.
And like I said, following my mentor around doing speech contests. Okay, well, I'm not gonna say I was the most popular person in school, but I had the gift of gab.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I knew if I could convince people, oh, you know what? People like speeches. And because I've been following him all this time, I remember taking my time, writing my speech, and I was going into ninth grade. I wrote my speech, and I remember to this day, I closed my speech with, my name is Charlotte. I'm the boss. I took it from Diana Ross. Vote for me, and you will see that Charlotte Jackson is very OG. I still remember that to this day, and I won student body president.
Wow.
So, like I said, it just was over time, gradually keep progressing, building upon things in layers. So now I'm doing the acting, I'm doing the singing, just constantly keeping myself out there. And California was a hard market, especially auditioning at my age and that I am now. You saw the same people
Mm.
on the auditions. It's like, you got sent out when it was, your look. And so, when you got an audition, if you were going to get the job or not, because you see everybody.
Mhm.
You got the same training, we gonna cancel each other out. Okay, and you start looking around the room. I'm dark skinned, this a little heavy set. It's like, okay, I didn't get in this part. Is but I had that agent. that always took a chance on me and would send me out on anything. If it called for a redhead, blue eyes, she'd send me for it. She's like, "They don't know, change their mind." That's what I set out to do.
So the church gave you the confidence to pursue more kind of performance in school. At what age, while you're doing the choir competitions, while you're doing the speech competitions, what age were you like, did it click like I could actually do this for a living? Because I think that's always a strange thing for kids. Like we love our hobbies,
We
right?
do.
And then it's like, are we 10 years old and we like, some people actually make a living and can buy houses with this kind of work. Like, when did that hit you?
And what I will have to tell you, and I'd have to be completely honest, it didn't hit me.
Yeah.
And I say it didn't hit me because I grow up from parents that are from the South. That's not a career. You can't make money. You need a real job. So it's always a compromise. If in my household, it was like, okay, no, you need a real job. You can do all of this fun stuff, which they felt it was a hobby. My parents, especially my dad, he was like, "Mm-mm, girl, you need a 9 to 5, a real one that pays good, a steady job where you get a pension, this." So that was always my mindset. I never set out to make a living about it. So I think that's why the joy never left me because I didn't sit out. I never, I didn't start, chase that limelight, if that makes sense. I never felt like I had to be in front. I didn't mind being a backup singer. I didn't mind supporting somebody. So for me, with that, like I said, with my upbringing, I didn't really never really I thought I was good, and I ain't even gonna say thought I was good. I thought I was decent. I could hold a note. So I never had the desire to be like, "Oh, Imma put out an album today," or "Imma do" that was never my desire. I just wanted to do something that made me happy, and it was like I said, an opportunity to escape, learn, continue to get better at what I was doing, and it just grew from there, but it was never, like I knew it clicked at this age that I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. Absolutely not. What I did know, based on living in my parents' house, the youngest of 8 kids, I had to get a job and a good one. But that allowed me at a very early age, when I went into corporate America, working different jobs, I was always very intrigued about certain things that the next person was doing. So I found myself always advancing in whatever I was doing.
Wow. So
Yeah.
always curious,
Always curious.
always consuming knowledge.
Yeah. I had to.
You were the oldest of 8.
Youngest.
Oh, sorry, youngest at 8. Yeah.
Yes, I was the baby girl and spoiled rotten.
Yeah.
Let's add the rotten part.
Well, it's great that you were able to at least like for a long time pursue these hobbies and these passions of yours without having to turn it into actual income earning opportunities. Because like I always find people who kind of grow up in LA, I feel like they have a little bit more of a gentle entrance point into the world of entertainment and creativity because their parents are sometimes nearby and they can always kind of fall back on the family. But people who like come all the way across the country or and have no support system here, that's when you see, yeah, the pressure really builds up and if they don't get this audition, they're going to lose their apartment or something like that. And there's all this like added just intensity.
Stress, and and I could say I never experienced that because, like I said, it was never really my goal. I think when I did get accepted into the School of Arts in high school, and that was like 10th grade, I don't even remember how old I was then, I really started to, like, focus in on it, like, learning the techniques of auditioning and doing different plays, and that's where my love of theater became, present. The ideal of taking on characters and just being like I said, that was an opportunity where you just escaped. And I think that's what really has transitioned me into fashion because being in plays and different things, and like I said, I was at a very prestigious high school, and at the time, costumes, well, they didn't always have stuff that fit me. Luckily, my acting teacher who was over the theater program at the time, she was very, she did plays like Our Town and different things. So period pieces of different things, there were times where it's like, "Okay, this doesn't quite fit." So, try the magic of doing your lines, performing to the best of your ability, but you're uncomfortable because your costume doesn't fit, or it's tied, partially in the back, and you have to make sure that you're staging, keeping all of that in mind that I'm like, at this angle so they can't see that, this really don't fit me in the back. So, just certain things that just is like, "Okay, wait a minute, there has to be a better way." So, I think that's what kinda developed my love for fashion, where it's like, okay, I had very supportive parents and, I grew up in a Black household where you weren't leaving the house looking crazy. So, you put on your best clothes, and I was raised where you have your Sunday best. You got dressed for church, you didn't go to church any kinda way. So, like I said, and that just really segued me in where I started to think about my appearance and how people perceive me.
And did you ever make your own costumes for those plays, or did you just alter them?
I
Like,
just altered
yeah.
was the key. I always had to find a way.
Mhm.
And you always have to advocate for yourself because they're giving it to you. It's like, okay, you make it work. It was nobody there saying, "Okay, well, we could do this." I had to become creative in the way to make it still, look presentable and being a part of a period piece, or you're doing Shakespeare and there's no clothing for you. Just, what I mean? So there became a time where I was doing it more out of necessity and need, where I was just being left out and I wanted to be included.
Mhm. So the high school career, led you to going to the Cal Arts.
It was like, the School of Arts, and that led me to continue to audition and do different things, and like I said, in California was a little bit different. You may audition 3 or 4 times a month, whatever, because they're looking for a certain look.
Mhm.
Whereas you in New York, you could audition pretty much every day because 'cause they're looking for talent. They're looking for raw, untapped in talent or whatever, so it's a different market, and that over a period of time, rejection or whatever, that became kinda daunting. And it was like, okay, wait, maybe this is not for me." But remember in the back of my mind, I always had an out. I was very good. I had corporate jobs.
Mhm.
I worked in, for big companies, and like I said, I would work my way up. For example, I worked for one company. I started as a gift wrapper.
Mhm.
I worked my way up all the way to corporate, but just from gift wrapping, taking the time and say like, "Oh, I can run and get the little payment, that people have dropped in the boxes on the different floors," getting the payments and taking them up to the girls or whatever, and they get back in the lines, "Well, if you take the time and show me how to input the payments, I can help you guys out."
Mhm.
So I was, like I said, always asking, always wanting to better myself. So I'm the type in my environment, wherever I'm in, I'm gonna always try to improve and then look for something else to learn and how can I better myself and advance myself a little bit more.
That's wonderful, actually. And what was it like trying to like balance corporate work with all the auditions and all the kind of taxing amount of time, driving, travel, traffic, anxiety, learning lines, like to also audition? Because I always find that really difficult. Because you said something interesting. Like you always wanted to learn and you always wanted to progress and things like that. And I find like a lot of people in the creative arts here in LA, they end up choosing a little bit less mentally taxing jobs.
Mhm.
Like maybe they're working in a restaurant as a waiter or something like that, and then trying to do auditions on the side. But like not a lot of people try to go into some corporate role
Right. You're
and
absolutely
rise up the ladder
right. Mhm.
and also find the time to do all these auditions and kind of balance that. I'm just curious, like, how did you do that? Because that's no small task.
It is not a small task, and if I had to sum it up in one word, favor. I was always blessed to have a manager that thought outside of the box, that they were go-getters, that they too were looking to excel within the companies or whatever, so they would give me the opportunity to lead. They're like, "Okay, just be back by blah, blah, blah time, take your lunch, combine your break, do the XYZ." So, I can only describe that with favor. It was God's favor because I always, no matter what, and I can think of so many managers and supervisors that have been so supportive of me, that maybe came in from outside of the company that I was working for, where they were like kinda, a headhunter got them, then pulled them to our company or whatever. I just was very, very, very fortunate, and, ooh, thank you. I just had very good managers.
It's amazing the role a manager can play in an employee's life when they just like listen and really understand what their passions are and just offer a little bit of flexibility. Like you'll keep
Work
people,
harder.
you work harder, you'll work longer, you'll stay mentally in it, and I just feel like so many people just say no and they have all these hard lines of what is allowed and what isn't allowed. But if you let people cater to their fantasies or their hobbies or what really makes them tick,
Mhm.
people will stay around a lot longer and work a lot harder, I feel.
Yes. And I think too, a lot of times, like you said, you work harder for that person because you know that they're supporting you. And and like I said, I don't know how it happened. That's why I said the only way I can describe it is favor. But people, I always looked at it as if like you get that one manager, because don't get me wrong, I've had the other ones that made life very difficult. And then I had to step outside of the box to think, God, what is your life like outside of this job for you to treat people the way you do?
Must be miserable.
And once I wrapped my head around that, nothing ever bothered me anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me anymore, and I never looked at no's as just a solid no.
Mhm.
I didn't. I just figured out a way to persuade you.
Yeah. Well, I think when you put out good energy, and I
Yes.
feel like you do, like you're really out there, you really, when you came in today, you're full of energy, you're full of light. Like I feel like when you carry that kind of energy into the world, you kind of get back what you're looking for, and people kind of treat you with a little bit more generosity and
Yes.
respect. Yeah.
And I think honestly, I mean, it's the state of what the world is in today. I think if we all took the time to be a little kinder to each other, things would work so much smoothly. And it's like, and then too, as the customer or whatever the case may be, is they're realizing that people sometimes have a bad day, and just you can't hold it personal, because we have them. Everybody has a bad day. We don't feel our best. We have different things, but you know, take a step back, woosah, take a mental vacation if you need to. Is no need to inflict that on somebody else.
Mhm.
So I just think being considerate of the next person is always key in anything.
So was there ever a time where you had to decide, or someone kind of pushed you to decide if you wanted to go into music or acting, or was it always just both? And was it always just two passions,
It
two loves?
it was 2 passions, 2 loves, and then my career.
Hmm.
And then I worked, and that was just because of my upbringing. You do what you gotta do. And then over time, I got married. I, had kids. I I didn't work for a long time. I didn't technically as getting into fashion or whatever. I've always shopped. Became a professional shopper over time
Mhm.
with the help of my husband, of course. But I was a stay-at-home mom for years. And I was not that parent that, social media and all that stuff was not as popular as then, but it had started to make the turn. And but I didn't ever want to be that parent to tell my kids, "Oh, you can't be on social media," and this and then every time they walk in the kitchen, I'm glued to my phone. I'm doing a check-in at this restaurant and whatever. So I didn't start getting on social media until probably the last and I don't even think it's 3 years now.
Oh wow, you were a late adopter.
I was a late adopter.
Yeah.
I was always taught to lead by example,
Mhm.
and that's what I did. Don't get me wrong, I was shopping, I was getting myself out there, I was making myself known to brands, building relationships. So, I was doing the legwork at the same time, and learning about different things or whatever, but in the course of that, I wasn't seeing a lot of people that looked like me,
Mhm.
and that's what kinda it ki my the Curve Authority was really born out of a necessity. I was in the midst of it, realizing that there is definitely a need.
Mhm. Was there a moment when you kind of decided to put your acting and singing career kind of off to the side and focus on fashion in the corporate world? I mean, or was it something you were trying to juggle?
I was trying to juggle it, and like I said,
Because you're a professional juggler at this stage. Let's be honest.
I've had a lot of titles: professional singer, actress, gambler, kind of certain things or whatever. So I'm passionate about what I do.
Mhm.
So I never really chose to do any particular thing. Life happened for me, and that was motherhood.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate enough where I was to be able to be a stay-at-home mom, and I never, like I said, thanks to my husband, I never missed a beat. I still was able to shop, live a good life, raise my children, be that PTA mom, do all the things that came with motherhood, and for that, I loved it. But now everybody's getting grown. My last child is 13,
Mhm.
and in that, I'm like, I kinda lost me a little bit. And then I'm like, start getting back into things that I really, really loved, and that's what sparked my drive as I'm watching the kids get older, move on, get their careers, finish school, doing certain things. That's when I learned that I do enjoy this fashion thing. I love it, but I would love for this industry to be a little bit more inclusive.
Did you take your kids to church and get them in the choir as well?
And some of them can't sing. And they don't my kids don't have inside voices, so I warn every teacher every year that you don't have to call me every day. They don't have an inside voice. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But yes, and I definitely did. Everybody went sang in the choir. And the older ones carpooled the younger ones to choir. And so, like I said, some sing very loud. They take after their dad, sometimes on note, sometimes not. And I would always give them the tip. If you don't know the words and you singing crazy, just stand up there and go watermelon, watermelon. It just makes like your lips are moving and you just don't have to sing so loud, whatever. But yes, everybody, I trained them all the same way. Same way I was raised, I feel like I turned out okay.
Mhm.
they got the same upbringing.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's nice that you had a chance to like pay that forward and then kind of keep them in the same traditions.
Yes.
Are any of them showing interest in having a career in that?
Yes, I have, my 19-year-old, he is very into music, he is going he has a beautiful voice, which I wish he would sing. He's starting to sing a little bit more, but he does rap. He has his own started his own production company, BDD Entertainment, a little plug for him, but, he's doing good. My youngest daughter, she is in the choir and loving it, excited about going into high school and doing the competition choirs and those kinds of things, so it's good to see a little bit of yourself in your kids and seeing that, "Oh, okay, well, maybe I did rub off on them in a good way." So,
Do you have any like deja vu moments where you're remembering your own life through their eyes and what they're going through and the nerves and maybe the lack of preparedness or over preparedness, the
absolutely.
anxiety?
Oh my god, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that. I think I was in the car with my son or whatever, and like I said, he has a real desire for music, and he has a great voice, great baritone voice, just, it's something that comes naturally to him, and I remember we were singing or whatever, and he was like, "You're flat." I was like, "Oh, no, you didn't." It's like, "Wait a minute." So, but I can remember me back in the day looking at somebody go, "Oh my god, the note is over here," but to see it come back, I'm like, "Ooh, you reap what you sow."
Right. It all comes around.
It does come around full circle, so it's just interesting to see him in the different spaces of music and different things of, and kinda trying to navigate him through it and saying, "Hey, I gotta put it into work," or him showing me drawings, "Oh, this is what I'm thinking about for my album cover." I'm like, that kinda looks like XYZ album cover." "What?"
Mhm.
I said, "Yeah, but how old is that?" "Well, you're in music, go." I'm that parent that always says to look it up,
Mhm.
because if you look it up, you'll retain it. If I tell you, you might forget it again
Mhm.
because, like, you didn't put any effort into knowing how that person got to it and what they designed, so that's the fun part of motherhood, is so, yes, definitely seeing it, and I'm definitely reaping those seeds.
Amazing. Amazing. So you mentioned that like raising kids was obviously a great joy of your life and things like that. But it's funny, not a lot of people talk about the break that you have to take as a woman in the creative arts. Sometimes when you have kids, like it's just hard to go to auditions. It's hard to continue carrying on with all of that, and you can't just leave young children at home, especially if you're a mother and you really need to be there. Like some people call it a sacrifice, some people call it a blessing. Like what was your mind like during that time? Like, did you really miss it or were you happy to take some time away and focus on something else?
I was happy about it.
Yeah.
You once you become a mom, it's so different, and I think the pain and the different things that you go through just to get there, "Okay, no, I'm gonna enjoy every stage of this little one's life."
Mhm.
So I never looked at it as anything that I missed. Like I said, I was still building relationships within, at different brands and doing things and participating in, behind the scenes and, still kind of trying to keep up my image and different things, 'cause I'm you s y you know, after like you mentioned starting your, podcast during COVID,
Mhm.
we all became very lax during COVID. I mean, we were the UGG sweats, get dressed from the waist up. Look, I'm fully dressed here at this podcast, you know what I mean? So it's like we got into that mode. Everything got comfortable,
Mhm.
and we look for convenience. I think Amazon probably did the best. I mean, bringing stuff to the door. We have become a society where we like things of convenience.
And I think actually during COVID, sweatpants sales increased like 800% or something like because
They got the
everyone,
money.
yeah, everyone was just buying like super comfy like pants and leggings because everyone had a suit on from the waist up
Uh,
and then jogging pants or shorts on the way to town. Yep.
right, and they
Same.
flip-flop, so, oh, yeah, been there, done that. So it's like, yeah, so I think we all got really, really comfortable.
Let's just say lazy.
Yeah, okay. You said it, but don't tell nobody.
No.
But yes, we got comfortable, we got lazy, it didn't require much of us. So I think if people are honest, even that transition back
Mhm.
to the workplace, the uncertainty, "Oh, you mean I gotta put on clothes?" Or women, "Oh my god, I forgot how to walk in heels. Oh," and it's like, and then, of course, fashion is trying to adapt. They bring out the flats and different things or whatever, but it was an adjustment getting back and getting into those clothes again, and then, of course, as you're getting back into the clothes again, you're like, my waist has expanded a little bit and the thighs have gotten a little bit bigger. We got comfortable. We got lazy. We were, you know, pushing the chair back, going to the kitchen, getting a snack, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a different time, things that we never thought we'd probably see in our lifetime where everything is just shut down.
It was strange, and this reminds me, I've always kind of followed Tom Ford's career as a fashion designer and then also as a movie director, and I really liked some of the stuff he did as a director. But he always had this saying that I always remember. He said, "Your clothing is your armor," and he goes, "When you dress really well and you go out into the world, that's how the bullshit bounces off of you, and that's how you take criticism and stuff like that. And your clothing and the quality of your clothing
It
is an
speaks a
armor."
lot.
And I always love that. And but if you don't have anywhere to go to defend yourself, if you're not going out into the world every day, you don't need the armor. So it's
Right.
almost like we just didn't need it anymore. But
Mhm.
now I feel like it's starting to come back and people are starting to go back to work and go back to the office place. And I hope, we see people again, really
Right.
putting a lot of care and effort into dressing.
Into dressing, and I think that's one thing that the Curve Authority really stands for, especially with the plus size market. Imagine not being able to go into a store and get that armor.
Mhm.
Imagine not being able to get that feeling of when you put those clothes on and you feeling good or whatever, stuff just bounces off of you. That's what it's about.
Mhm.
There's nobody should be left out of that, be it luxury, regular need clothing, necessities, or whatever. You shouldn't be left out, and that is exactly what I'm advocating for. He said it best,
Mhm.
and it's so true. Brands need to get back to what how it started.
Mhm.
It's like nobody like I tell my saying all the time is nobody wakes up and says, "I wanna go out of the house naked today. I'm just gonna do this." I mean, don't get me wrong, it might be a few depending on if it's a nudist beach out in the back of their hotel room or whatever.
Sorry,
So,
self-defense.
there's some places where you can roll and rock like that.
Yeah.
Okay, to each his own. It's like, but I don't know if everybody wants to see all of this under here. But I still should be afforded the opportunity
Mhm.
to be a well-dressed person and be able to present myself because image is everything.
Mhm.
I was raised your first impression. It, you can't erase your first impression with somebody.
That's the truth, isn't it?
You can't go back.
Mm.
You cannot get that moment back.
Mhm.
And I was always taught, put your best foot forward and present yourself, be clean. And even if you don't have the most expensive garment on, you don't, because maybe you can't afford it. And that's what I'm trying to instill in people. I'm not saying break the bank.
Mhm.
you know, Everybody invest in everything. Little Bitcoin and, stocks, and they invest in real estate and they trade every day and whatever. But people have gotten away from investing in their image. And it's so important because that impression you make on somebody, you might not know it maybe later down the line. They remember, oh gosh, she came in here really polished and she looked good, she smelled good, or what. It's a lasting impression. And sometimes, like you said, you just can't get those moments back.
No, you can't. Luckily, I've done a lot of podcasts, so my audience is used to just looking at me wearing sweats and being half cleanly shaven, half not. But we're trying to get through the everyday slowly here.
But
Mm.
that's the beauty about your show, though.
Yeah,
And like I said, and this is you have now gonna set the bar high for if I do in-person podcast, it's like, well, wait a minute, it's a level of comfort and like you said, but if you wanted the choice
mhm,
to be able to get that shave and put on you want that option.
mhm.
And I think everybody should be afforded that option.
Absolutely. So you've said it a few times, but I didn't catch it. What's the actual name of the fashion company you have?
The Curb Authority.
Curve Authority.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And when did you launch that?
I launched that officially, it's been, ooh, a year. A year. I started with, PR and everything last August. Well, no, I haven't even made a year. Wow.
Wow.
And God, look at God. See, I told you that word went right back to a favor.
Mhm.
I started this full time August.
Wow. That's like 5, 6 months ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the response has been amazing,
Mhm.
almost overwhelming that it's like I said something and it's like, and one person was like, oh my God, that's what I was feeling. And the need is out there and like I said, my whole thing is I don't know if I will ever reach the masses. The goal is to go global, but if I can help one woman feel better about herself,
Mhm.
I'm winning.
But you've had an interest in fashion for so long. What gave you the courage or pushed you kind of over the edge to actually register a company and start your own fashion line? Because a lot of people will talk about it.
Mhm.
A lot of people love fashion, but don't want to actually create a business around it and monetize it.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, like, what that mental space was like for you over the last, 15 years or so, where you love fashion, you're raising your kids, you love fashion, you're building these connections with brands and stuff like that. You're kind of studying and learning about fashion. But then what was the like the deciding factor? It's like I'm going to register my company and actually start a business because I feel like as an entrepreneur, that's obviously the moment of inception where it's like now this is real.
Mhm.
Because you can always, love fashion and post stuff on social media without actually having the pressure of owning a business, and that's like
Exactly.
that's real stress.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious, like, what got you over the line?
What got me over the line, was attending fashion shows, like the Paris Fashion Week, and I've done New York Fashion Week, and just attending and looking around in the spaces, noticing that there was no one that looked like me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Okay." But that didn't still spark me. It was standing in my closet one day looking around, and my closet looks pretty good. But what I noticed was that scale, that justice, and that's one of the things that I use in my logo, the scales of justice, because it's not very even. It's, one side can be higher than the other. And as I started to survey the items in my closet, I realized that my shoe game, impeccable. My handbag game, whew, is fierce. But then I started to look around that I have all these brands of purses and shoes or whatever. Am I ready to wear? My clothing just it didn't match what I was carrying, it didn't match my footwear, it didn't match. Where's the in between?
Mhm.
I'm missing the clothes in between, and then I start stepping outside of the box, and I noticed when I would walk in the stores or those relationships that I was trying to build, they were always showing me the purses and the shoes because there wasn't a lot of ready-wear that I could fit.
Mhm.
So, I made the conscious decision of saying, "Okay, I'm gonna go in here when they offer me a purse and whatever, because normally I buy. I'm declining now." I start declining. "Well, no, that's okay. Well, call me when you get something that I can wear,
Mhm.
because I would like how about start showing me a whole outfit? Or, okay, let's look at this handbag. Well, let's go over here to the clothes. What do you have that would complement this bag?"
Mhm.
So just me, you know, trying to move the needle a little bit, saying, "Okay, can I see some ready wear?" And it was not always there. It was, "Okay, well, we have this man's shirt over here that we could show you that, you could tie it this and do this and put it over there." It was like, You see all this hips, boobs, or I'm not no man,
Mhm.
and I don't wanna be a man's clothing." But I knew that might be the opportunity to show them that I'm serious. And "Okay, show me the men's clothes, because 'cause Imma belt it, Imma do whatever, Imma take some scissors to it, I don't care how much it costs. Imma make it femme.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make this look like it was meant for a female." So, just being patient and just letting I think that's the game with, in luxury, they don't always take you serious because a lot of times in luxury, people window shop.
Mhm. All the time.
It's a part of the game, and their goal is to sell something, to close a deal, and not only but I think what they should realize is the mature and plus size women, we have the money and the spending power and to wanna spend. If you present it and we like it, guess what? We're gonna come back.
Mhm. 'Cause there's nothing else out there.
There's nothing else out there.
That's wild that you spent so much time kinda researching and going to all these kinda high-end luxury shops and just not finding anything for yourself. That's,
And, too, it was educating the brands, and I work and I stress this with the consumer side too. Alterations and tailoring is anybody can require that.
Mhm.
You don't always have to be a plus size person to need something altered.
No.
You can be small and need something altered. So those same concepts should apply across the board.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm working towards of like saying, okay, if you're cutting a standard size, you already got the pattern, cut it in a larger size as well. It's gonna sell. And it's like once people see themselves and feel themselves in a garment, you can be having the worst day possible. You put your clothes on, you still might not be feeling the best, whatever, you going through the motions because maybe you do have to go to that job, and maybe you do have a board meeting that you have to conduct or whatever, and you get there, you're not feeling it. You're like, "Oh," but you put your stuff on, you go, you get in that elevator and be like, "Ooh." look so pretty today."
It's like an automatic pick me up.
The best pick me up, and it was free.
Hmm.
It was free. It makes you feel so good. Everybody wants that.
There's nothing better than like a whole outfit that just fits perfectly.
Yes, and somebody recognizing it.
Hmm.
And not that you do it for recognition. You're really doing it for yourself to better yourself, but when you get that recognition, okay, it's confirmation that, okay, I really just did this. I might have put this together. Everybody wants a compliment. It doesn't matter who you are. We all look for that. We all want that feel good.
Hmm.
And I just think we shouldn't, and nobody should be excluded from it.
So you've got an amazing suit on today, and I love the shoulder flares. But I'm just curious, like when you decided to start your own fashion company, like where did you want to begin? Because I just feel like, first of all, I don't know anything about fashion, so you all your energy and you're educating me, and I'm thankful for that. But like, I just, how do you even begin starting a fashion company? Like, like what did you first decide to try to make and sell?
Well, what I will tell you is I'm in the stages of starting to design stuff and make clothing and sell different things or that, women can get um and be accessible to. But what I'm trying to do now, the forefront is to build it and be a liaison between plus size women and luxury brands to start carrying the sizes.
Mhm.
Because there are a lot of women out there that are in corporate and entertainment that need want high-end fashion that the market is just not out there, or they make one piece or two pieces and everybody's fighting over those two garments. Why not? I'm not saying mass produce them, but produce enough where that there's enough out there where people can go in and shop commercially, and we're not talking couture because that does entail a little bit more, but when it comes to commercial items, plus size women should be able to go in and do that and be able to shop. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm also trying to develop in the works of talking about a television show.
Mhm.
We're trying to get that out there where we can do some maybe makeovers and different things and educating women on imaging. I'm doing image consulting. I'm doing styling now. I'm styling clients now. Just giving people back that overall confidence because it's not easy.
And so correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm going in the wrong direction here, but if you walk into like a luxury fashion shop for men,
Mhm.
I feel like the plus size and mature options for men are there. And and this might sound ridiculous, but why aren't they there for women?
They're just not, and you're absolutely right. You can find a big and tall shop, you can find the extended sizes in some brands, you can find in the men's size, but for some reason, they've gotten away from producing those items for women, and that's what we're fighting for. It's like, okay, it's like, wait a minute, we wanna look good too, and it's like, we should be able to go in those stores, same thing, and just sometimes a brand will give you a teaser. They'll have a couple of items or whatever, or say they carry it, and then you go into this and a lot of plus size women will agree with me. They've gone into those stores thinking, "Oh, I can go shop off the rack or whatever." Get in there, they're looking around the store, they're checking, and they're over here and they don't see it. They go up to a manager or sales associate, "Oh, hey, I was told you guys carry it." "Oh, I'm so sorry. We do carry it, but you have to buy it online."
Hmm. Well, then you can't try it on and blah blah blah, and then they're like buying clothes and shoes online just doesn't work.
And that is why I am advocating that brands have to get back to the in-store experience.
Yeah.
COVID has got us getting them packages to the door. When you buy a clothing item from, say, Amazon. It comes to your doorstep, you try it on. If it don't fit, what you do, you go on your phone and hit return item. It says, do you like it? Why you return it? Too small, too big, whatever you're checking. And you go, you drop it off at Kohl's, UPS, whatever, Whole Foods, wherever you're dropping your package, and you send it back. And now you're scrolling again for another item, want to fit. Well, whereas if you were in the store trying that garment on, associate could say to you, "Hey, you know what? Hold on, let me look inside the jacket. You know what? Okay, well, I see the button. Maybe if we move the button over here and the whatever we got there, we're close to." There's a different experience,
Mhm.
not a closed door. Not saying that, okay, I don't have this. It doesn't quite not quite my size, but it can be my size. Alterations, tailoring.
Mhm.
So that's goes with the brand, getting the people back into the store to experience. And that's how you build longevity with a client. That's the repeat clients.
I feel like that's just the bare minimum though if you're dealing in the luxury space.
It
Like
is.
you have to offer solutions and you have to offer good customer service.
Yes.
Like it's one thing if you're buying $30 jogging pants off of Amazon and you just buy them in extra L and they'll fit everyone because they're extra L or whatever.
Mhm.
And they don't have to fit perfectly because you're just wearing them around the house. But when you're going out into public or you're going into workspace environments or you're going there again trying to put your best foot forward, trying to give that killer first impression,
Mhm.
you need stuff that fits properly and you need it to be maybe tailored, but at least have someone who really knows what they're doing help
Exactly.
you put it together because you might not know, what goes, at least for me, I'm so fucking totally useless. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what tie goes with this jacket or shirt or whatever. So I always rely on people's help, but you're right. Like that in-store experience, that customer service, that like hands-on touch
Mhm.
is really missing.
Right, and you can feel the garment, you can see and don't get me wrong, I go to the fashion shows, but for me, the fun part is the re-see, and the re-see is the next day after the show where you're actually seeing the garments that came down the runway, you get to see the fabric, you know if it's a little bit of stretch, you know certain things that how it's flowing is flowing because you get to see the craftsmanship, and I think that's the important and when you see that garment, okay, you're placing an order for that particular garment, and, one thing I've said on in the past is that, you know, we we all want inclusivity, we want and we'll see a plus size woman walk down the runway and whatever, and we're cheering and it ends there. Well, what happens? Well, there was no interest in it, so they didn't produce it. But if you're clapping and you take that clap all the way to the finish line and purchase that item, that shows that that will sell. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, that this person ordered that, and oh, we noticed that this piece is pretty popular. Maybe we need to order more units. So we have to do our part as a consumer too. We can say we want, we want, we want, but what are we doing to do it? Okay, you saw it. Did you purchase it? Did you whatever? So, and then that goes all the way back to that in-store experience. You're building a relationship. So now when you go into that particular store, say, Sally, she knows who you are, or she might call you and say, hey, we just got some pieces in, are you around? Can you come in this weekend? Maybe we can try a few things on. I know you got such and such coming up, birthdays and a celebration. So that's how you have to build the relationship. And, like you said, people we got a little lazy, and that goes on both parts. You gotta they have to follow up too. You have to, let them know that you want them in the store, that you want them to wear the brand. You gotta start treating people like more than a sale.
I think also too, like you hit the nail right on the head earlier. You said like you spent years going to all these different stores, hunting,
Mhm.
looking, beyond the shoes, beyond the handbags, looking for everything in between, and you just didn't find it.
Mhm.
Like how many women are there out there like you who are looking for well-made clothing and can't and who have just given up?
Mhm.
Like just and who are and you have to vote with your feet. If you see something and you like it and it's your size and you buy it, that tells the company, hey, this will work, make more of them.
Make more.
Yeah, and create some different styles and some different colors. We have a market here. But how many women are maybe like you where they didn't want to create their own company and they just had years of just disappointment
Mhm.
and have just kind of like given up?
That's why the Curve Authority is here.
Yeah.
I want them to let them know I am fighting every day for them. I want them to know that just hold on a little bit longer.
Mhm.
If you see a brand that really speaks to your personality, to your aesthetic, to your what you do day to day. You wanna be structured, but you want that suit to be comfortable or whatever, find a brand that speaks to you. Let them know that you're interested and say find out immediately what's the largest size you carry in that. Is there a possibility? We have not because we don't ask sometimes. It's like, ask the hard questions. Can this be made? And sometimes they don't know. But it's okay, and the sales associate has to know that it's okay to say, "I don't have the answer. Let me get back to you."
Yeah.
Give them a time frame to get back to you. If they don't, you follow up. So it's just like I said, this is a learning experience on both parts, and I think ultimately it can be a win-win for everybody.
You'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we all just pay a little bit more attention, and like you said, like, there's so many successful, mature, plus size, not plus size women who are not being served by the brands that are currently in existence, and I just feel like you're right, like, there's a huge market for it.
It really is, and, producing one size in a garment is so difficult, especially if you are a luxury brand, because then everyone that's, say, an entert and I'm speaking for the everyday girl. I represent the everyday. I came like I said, I used to be I'm still a housewife. I still am on my 13-year-old schedule, be it volleyball, be it whatever she got going on. I'm still doing all the things, but I still also have to represent, for, like, the everyday woman that has the means to buy luxury.
Mhm.
Not everybody this and I'm not saying, like I said, don't break the bank, but there's okay to invest in one statement piece that you can filter in your everyday wardrobe that you put on, that's your lucky jacket or whatever. Okay, maybe
Piece.
yeah, don't get rid of the kids' college fund trying to blow to keep up with the next person. No, invest in one nice statement piece, a nice suit, a nice dress, so that you're not scrambling when this event does come up, and then you don't have anything to wear, and then hitting that brick wall again of that disappointment or whatever. So it's just like, taking the time to do what's necessary and invest in your image. But the brands have to do the same thing and make it available, because what happens is if it's a luxury brand and they make, say, maybe one of that item, well, of course it's going to go to a celebrity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because guess what? They do want that celebrity to be seen in that item or whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
It's all a business, it's all a whatever. But what about the woman like myself that's sustaining your business? That's the repeat customer. Because a celebrity, okay, well, if that brand is hot, yeah, they want to wear it. Well, guess what? The next season they might not feel you're hot
Mhm.
and they might want to go to the next brand. But if you have me over here or whatever that has been showing loyalty to the brand all these years or whatever the case may be, that's the woman that I'm standing up for. And don't get me wrong, I'm for everybody. I want everybody to be included. But at the same time, you have to look at the everyday woman or working class woman, housewives, or that have special events or whatever that they want to, put that thing on and be like, okay, what you wearing today? I got on time for it. I got on a little McQueen, a little Stella, you know, you feel good, and like you said, you can be feeling bad, you go get that one compliment, your day has, completely
Skyrocket.
yes, completely changed, and like I said, it's an amazing feeling, and getting dressed to me is it's just fun.
Mhm. Amazing. So you mentioned you were doing some consulting work for some of the major brands, just trying to get them to come to this conclusion that there's a huge market that they're missing out on. What's the response been like? We don't have to name names, but I'm just curious, like, has it been a positive conversation or has it been like an uphill battle?
Well, what I can say is, for the most part, in my experience, it has been positive, um and being asked to speak with the buyers or whatever to say, "I think this would sell and this is a good piece." The plus size, not only the plus size the woman in California, because don't get me wrong, there's different climates. So, I'm on the West Coast. What works for me on the West Coast might not work for a woman on the East Coast, but there is a woman on the East Coast that still needs clothing. You buy per the market that you're the region that you're in. And so that's why they have, most luxury brands have a store in almost every major city, or and even the surrounding cities, they have extra stores. So with that being said, I like the opportunity to be able to walk a receipt with a buyer and say that I'm interested in this and I think you should produce more of these, and the larger sizes will sell. Cuz if you notice, and I don't know why they haven't gotten hip to it a long time ago, because if they notice, and that's any brand, and you may have experienced it when you go online, if it's a larger size, it'd be the first to go.
Hmm.
Or it's like my shoe size, I wear 8 in women's. The 8 sells so fast, and it's like, "Wait a minute, the common sizes sell, produce more of those," and it's like you're seeing that people are buying them. The it's just not enough for everybody that's interested in it. So hopefully, it'll change. I see a little bit of change. There's always room for improvement, but some of the brands are catching on and, extending sizes a little bit more, so that's a good thing, and especially in women's sizes, because a woman doesn't always wanna be shown a man's piece. Don't get me wrong, there's a difference. We're not talking a unisex piece.
Hmm.
We're talking strictly a woman made for a woman, made for a man. So women, if you're a woman, you wanna be in women's clothing.
I would be absolutely disturbed if I went into a luxury clothing shop and asked to try on a shirt and had someone tell me that there are no men's shirts in my size, but I have a woman's shirt that you might be like to try on. I nothing wrong with women's clothing at all. I love it, but I would be pretty kind of distraught by that experience. It's like, I'm a man, I'm here to buy men's clothing. How come you don't have something in my size? I think that would frustrate me a lot.
Right, so
Um,
imagine that being somebody's norm.
Yeah. That's what I mean, like, how many women are there like you who have had that be your norm and who have been so frustrated but haven't done anything about it like you have? Like, you're trying to change
Right.
minds and attitudes, you're starting your own company to bring this in, but a lot of women, they might have just kind of been so frustrated by it for so many years, maybe they've kind of given
Just
up.
giving up,
Yeah.
that's what I wanna say, don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up because there is somebody out there advocating for you,
You.
and it's me, and, and like I said, honestly, if I can help one person, then I am really trying to advocate because I know there are a lot of women out there like that, and they have become discouraged, and, it's like because and don't get me wrong, sometimes a new year will come, like this is the start of a new year, we'll, get gung ho and we'll get back out there and then you meet the same frustrations.
Mhm.
And it's like, "Yeah, God, how many times do I have to go through this?" Or I hit the same wall or whatever. I just wanna tell them to keep going forward. And there's nothing wrong with creating your own style.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like I said, okay, well, maybe this luxury brand does not have find the one that is carrying your size.
Mhm.
Find the one that's gonna make you feel good. Keep being present. Get that one statement piece that they see you mixing with the high and lows, and go in and show them how you're mixing it with the high and the low, and that you got this from Walmart, or you got this from this one, or you went to Express and you're mixing a Balenciaga jacket with something you got from Express or whatever. Show them how it could be mixed and make them come on board and be like, "Okay, well, God, we shoulda got her the pants."
So if there's
You know, gu guess imagine how it woulda looked if it was all our pieces. So sometimes you just and I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with mixing high and low. At the end of the day, the goal is to look good
Mhm.
and really feel good. Because really, visually, it's all it's all on what you like. Because what might look good for me might not look good for the next person. But ultimately, it's about how you feel, and that's what the goal is, that every person should be afforded the opportunity to feel good in their clothes.
So, I will let's go into this for a sec. I don't want to trash any brands or mention any brands that don't do a really, really good job, unless you want to get personal. But what's one brand or two brands that you really like where you can find clothing for yourself? Like, would you mind
Mhm.
talking about a few? Or because there might be some women out there who are like, oh, what's her
Okay.
favorite? Yeah, where can she go into a shop and find exactly what she's looking for
Well,
in Los Angeles?
in Los Angeles. Well, right now I have on full McQueen. I have full on McQueen. Sean McGurr is the creative director over there, and they go up to anywhere between a 46, 48, and now because of me, they carry a size 50. I'm not gonna say solely because of me, but the demand of ordering more than 150 is there.
Mhm.
I love Stella McCartney. Um, Not only is her stuff beautiful and tailored and luxury, it's, earth friendly.
Mhm.
She's all about saving Mother Earth, and, people say, "God, McQueen and Stella McCartney, they're so vastly different." But like I said, I have kids. I want the earth to be around when they come, and if I could do just one small part, be it shopping at this brand that's making sure that animals aren't being slaughtered for certain things and whatever. So and that goes back to what I said, pick a brand that speaks to you,
Mhm.
that fits your lifestyle, your aesthetic. You're not doing it for anybody else. Honestly, it's for you to feel good about it, and choose those brands that are supporting you or might and there's tons of brands that carry up to like a 46, 40, 48. Chanel, Dior at times carries those, but if you're not in those stores all the time, they're gonna they're gonna fizzle 'em out. So it's being present, it's showing an interest, and that could be with any brand. Max Mara carries up to a size 16, beautiful clothing, and Max Mara has different brands where it's Max Mara, Max Sport, Sport Max. They have Max Weekend Max. They have all kind of different levels, and they're carrying the larger sizes.
Mhm.
And but again, you have the celebrity clientele that they want the high end brands. They want the Valentinos and the Dior's and the different things. They want to look good amongst their peers. So nobody wants to be like, "Oh, I'm in this off-brand whatever," and your other colleague is walking the red carpet in a designer brand,
Mhm.
or, and of course, when you get to certain levels, of course, brands are seeking you out and they wanna make custom stuff for you.
Mhm.
But you still have to have the means. It's not cheap. This is not cheap. That's why I said I am an everyday woman who has been fortunate enough whose husband supports what I do, and, but that's why I said it's not for everybody, but you can always invest in a statement piece.
Mhm.
And maybe when it's your birthday or Christmas or whatever, start asking for those things or asking for if you might can't buy me a whole item, but can you give me a gift card?
Mhm.
Or, and they'll go in the store and they'll say they don't carry gift cards. Okay, well, I want to put a deposit under this person's name so that they can come in and shop and put this towards. There's nothing wrong with saying, I couldn't get you the whole item, but I left something in the store for you to go towards an item.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that because we all have different lifestyles. All our friends aren't on the same level or whatever the case may be, but they know that that's what you like.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, well, instead of asking for a Starbucks gift card or a movie theater gift card, you saw something that you wanted to buy, you know, out of YSL.
Mhm.
Okay, go into YSL, find an associate, give that person's name, and that guess what? That deposit will be there waiting under their name, and they can go in and shop and put it towards something nice.
Mhm.
Be it a scarf. Scarf is clothing. You can YouTube and, find a videos to show you how to tie scarves different ways. Whatever it is that's gonna make you feel good and I think everybody wants to have a luxury item in their closet, and at the end of the day, be it something that was passed on from your grandmother or, a family member, you cherish those things, and especially if you're working hard every day, you take care of them
Mhm.
and they last the test of time. Sometimes I'll have on something and my kids will be like, "Mom, God, you've had that for a long time." And be like, "Girl, this is old as dirt. I think I've had this before you such and such was born." So, it's worth the investment because 'cause it'll last.
Mhm. That sentimental value is priceless.
Priceless, and
Mm.
there's nothing like it. We're just having something where, you know, like and I have to say my mom had a mink coat, and, this is when I was younger. I never thought I would be able to have a fur coat or anything like that, but to be able to put on my mom's coat that she had that has her initials or something, it could be anything. Back in the days, everybody wasn't walking around with fur coats,
Mhm.
so it's like, wow, to have that and just like you said, the sentiment, yes, I own my own fur, but that one is special.
Mm.
And even if I never was able to buy one of my own, I have one that was passed down to me. And I think that's why, to segue, that's why the secondhand market is doing so well. The luxury items because you've excluded people out of some of these things, and you got to be on a wait list, and oh, you got to be of this, and you have to go through the process or whatever. Okay, well, you might not sell me that bag, but guess what? I can go to some of these secondhand stores and these consignment stores where people have hit hard times and they're selling. You hate to say that, but it's like you've excluded somebody from the market and they really want it. They saved up for it. I don't care if it was owned by somebody else. It was gently used.
Mhm.
And guess what? Now you own it and you think highly of it. You take care of it because it was something you were left out of and you were able to attain it. So, and I think that's the goal. And like I said, if the industry would kind of just recognize the market that they've excluded, I think they'd be so surprised of the shift in their numbers
Mm.
because it's all about making money, and no brand is gonna stand before anybody and say that they're struggling.
That's interesting. So I'm gonna try to explain something, and I'm gonna go way off the deep end here. And this is either gonna work out or completely
Look,
bomb. So be gentle with me.
I will.
Okay. So when I was growing up in like the '90s, we had like heroin chic, Kate Moss, no hips, no curves, no nothing, and everything was made for them.
Mhm,
And then I feel like we started to have like J-Lo, and then maybe like a decade later, like Kim Kardashian. And we started to see like women with actual curves
mhm,
and start to come into mainstream media because for forever they weren't there.
mhm,
And you never saw anything for women that didn't look like, the Kate Moss type
mhm,
people. So I feel like if you were to go back like 30 years before, the Jennifer Lopez's or the Kim Kardashians of the world started to come into some kind of prominence, and women started to wanting to dress like they did, and
mhm.
then brands had to cater to women who looked like them or wanted to dress like them. Like this situation that you're describing now must have been just awful in like the early 2000s or even the 1990s.
It was a lack and there was a gap in those markets because, like you said, they were tailoring it, and it
Did I do that, by the way? To Sorry to interrupt you. Did I like?
you
Is my understanding
did
of that? Yeah,
absolutely.
because I didn't know where that was going to
I
land.
I got you.
Okay, thank you.
But what's funny is, I have to go with what I saw. We were always there. The curves were always there, and if you really look at marketing now, there's still that's still what you see,
Mhm.
but we know better now. We know that there are women of curves out there. I mean, we've always existed, and, regardless of if they were marketing into them, plus size women, we're creative, and sometimes if you want something, you gonna do what you need to get it. Guess what? Okay, let me tell you, Jordache, Vidal Sassoon, Calvin Klein. Okay, you don't wanna make no jeans for me? Guess what? Alright, no problem, Imma buy the largest pair you have. Oh, if you know how to sew, guess what? My parents are very innovative. Imma pop that Calvin Klein tag. Sorry, Calvin, but I want it to be in your Calvins. You take that, you go, Imma put that on my, my stretch jeans. Imma put the tag back there. You always find a way to include yourself in something, which is unfortunate.
Mhm.
Just make the size.
Mhm.
There's been brands along the line that you could always kinda rely on, be it the 501s and the different things. So they've always made for curvy women. They just weren't like you said, there wasn't nobody out in the forefront.
Mhm.
But we've always existed. We've always just made it work.
Mhm.
We set our one thing about us, we set our own trends.
Mhm.
And that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to when something excludes you from it, make your own lane.
I love that. That's great. So when you decided to set up your own company, what was like? You must have had this idea, and I don't mean to. I just want to throw this out there. Like, did you ever think about creating like a fashion line where you tailor specific to each client or each woman, so it would be like maybe a little bit more bespoke? But in our conversation, it seems like you're very interested and concerned that commercially these sizes and these women are catered for, in all the commercial shops and all the luxury shops. And I'm just wondering, like, did you ever have this idea of like, I want to create a bespoke fashion company where I can cater to women of all sizes and actually make clothes for them, like, or this idea of kind of championing that all these brands should be carrying all these sizes and all these women need to be catered for. Kind of like, where did you land on that?
I land honestly on both sides because really all the brands should be carrying it because we exist and we're not going anywhere. So why not, tap in on the market because you say your goal is to sell and it's about revenue. So why not exclude it? But at the same time, if the brands aren't included, then that's where tailoring comes in. Well, I can still be included over here because maybe I have to alter a few things. Maybe I have to let out some seams or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. And then on the flip side is making something if if and when it's up and running, the curb authority, the brand and all of that, nobody's going to be excluded because that's not what it's about. We're not trying to exclude the smaller sizes. We want everybody to be included because at the end of the day, it's about the person feeling good and looking good in the clothes that they wear and buy because it's an investment. And at the end of the day, we want it. You know how they say, happy wife, happy life?
Mhm.
If you have a happy customer, that customer is coming back to you.
Mhm.
And
They're
telling all their friends.
and telling all their friends because guess what? You get bad customer service, you tell every single person you know because you don't want them to experience that. And 9 times out of 10, when you get good customer service, you're like, "Oh, well, I was paying for that." See, you're not likely to spread the word, but when there's an absence of something and you get it and you go back and it's there again, oh, I'm telling everybody I know, "Girl, such and such got these pants over here." That's how stuff spreads,
Yeah.
and that's what's gonna happen. They're including us over here. Have you gone over to the Curve Authority? They got the that's what it's gonna be about, and eventually, it's like, okay, people are trying to create their own lane, and we wanna be supportive, and we all wanna, kumbaya or whatever the case may be, but like you said, people are discouraged,
Mhm.
and I just wanna tell people, "Hold on a little bit longer. Just hold on. Find your own lane, find the style that suit you. Right now, if say JCPenney's is carrying your size and you're over there shopping at JCPenney's and some people are Ashley Graham has a line over at JCPenney's, go to Penny's.
Mhm.
You wear that brand, you sell Ashley Graham out at JCPenney's. because then that's gonna open doors for other people like a Ashley Graham that's gonna create more to catering to plus size women or whatever, and I'm sure and she has the smaller sizes there too. So, that's really what it's about. So, it's like, you sometimes when it's the lane or the table is not there, you gotta build your own table.
I think after this conversation, everyone's gonna go for Steve McQueen and get this jacket.
It's a little McQueen, little yeah. And yeah, like I said, it might not work the first time around because I might have bought it. I'm just kidding. But no, it might not work the first time around, but don't be discouraged. Say express and be communication is key. Express what you are looking for, what the need is. I have a business meeting, I have a conference that I need to attend. I'm going to be presenting and doing a talk 3 times. I have to be up there 3 times. Let them know exactly what your need is. Is this possible? Can you check to see if you have a larger size? Keep pressing.
Hmm.
And if that doesn't work at that brand, go to the next person. Go to the next brand. Keep your vision in sight. Don't get discouraged. Even if the door closes, guess what? The door has to open again unless it's bolted shut and bolts can be removed. You got a drill, you can take them out. Never looked at anything. I was always taught, don't look at a closed door as that's it. Just wait at the door. And that's what I do. When they open the door, guess what they say? Hey y'all, I'm here.
Still here.
What you got for me?
Yeah.
So sometimes, we can't get discouraged. We can't. Because if we think about where we come from, for me anyway, if somebody would have gave up, I would not be sitting in front of you. My dad would have gave up if whatever I would not be sitting at this podcast talking to you about fashion. It just wouldn't be because they gave up. So I know we can't give up. We owe it to our parents or our ancestors or whatever the case may be. We can't give up on something as trivial as fashion. Where there's a way, where there's will, there's a way. So we could do it.
Absolutely. So the brand that you've started now, you started it last August. So you're quite still in infancy. You're promoting it. You're working. Where do you see the brand in like 10 years from now? Like, are you making your own pieces? Are you participating in fashion shows like in New York or Paris? Do you have physical shops? Is it all online? Like, where do you see this kind of going?
So just to set the record straight, I don't have any physical pieces right now. Right now, I'm serving as a liaison between the luxury market and the plus size and mature woman community, just trying to get them to advocate because it's something that's existing that hopefully they'll get on board and start producing the garments. I would love in the future to do collabs with different brands. Um, that was a great idea. A light bulb just went off. I would love to participate with some of these a luxury brand and create a plus size line.
Hmm.
That would be so awesome because then they know it's like okay, the Carver Authority in conjunction with even if it's H&M, it don't have to be something. It can be something that's affordable, but I know how people feel in clothes, and I know what the structure or whatever it takes. So even if it's Charlotte Jackson and Curve Authority with Chanel, or hey, I'm putting it out there in existence. So you speak it. Hey, maybe somebody's out there here, and I would love to do a collab with Skims someday. Maybe showing some things where the you know undergarments and stuff are being tested on plus size women. Really tested, not, for a short period of time, but really testing shapewear on the plus size woman. Yes, you're carrying the size, but please test it on the plus size woman so that so that it's not rolling down and it's not doing all the uncomfortable things that things can do. And eventually, like I would love to have my own hosiery line. So many things. There's the opportunity out there that as a plus size woman, we lack.
Mm.
We lack the fundamentals of, very well or tailor made clothing. So that's why I'm like I said, so in 10 years from now, I would hope to be global, expanding I love to cook. So expanding a cooking show out there where I'm showing people, cooking with love and just, healthy ways or different snacks that they could be making for their family. Cause there's a misconception with people sometimes that they think because you're plus size, you're unhealthy. I just had my lab work done and everything, and it's like, okay, I got low cholesterol and everything. So just because you're plus size doesn't mean that you're unhealthy or that you won't look beautiful in a garment. Because I feel like if a brand produces a garment, be it in a standard size and a plus size, it's all in how you wear it. Your confidence, your styling, that's going to really make that jump. Either the garment is going to wear you or you're going to wear the garment. And that is my goal to show them that plus size women can wear these garments and they shine. You know what I mean?
And that comes through the confidence of
Yeah.
of picking it out and having it there and having someone help you
Whole
with it. Yeah.
process. Yes.
And it seems like all the beginning stuff is missing.
It is, and it is.
Yeah.
You hit it on it. It is missing, and I think we just gotta really get back to that, and like I said, if I can do anything, it's just to encourage people to don't give up. You know, we're going into a different time. Don't give up. I know it's frustrating. I wear those shoes. I know it is a frustrating thing to go into a store that has told you that they're carrying your size, and you get there only to find out, well, we do carry it, but it's online, or, "Oh, we do carry it, but it's in limited quantities, it's already sold." Come on now.
Mhm.
It's like, "Wait a minute." And the frustrating part that happens is it's gone, but you can look around and see that it's multiple in other sizes, that it's actually there and readily accessible.
It seems like just in talking to you, like obviously you're very passionate about clothing and fashion, but you really like the quality and you really, it really has an aesthetic for you. That's just my interpretation of our chat so far.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm passionate about it, and I care about people,
yeah.
and I know what it's like to feel unseen.
And I just feel like there's a real trend, like we've been talking about it now for maybe a decade, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. This whole idea of like fast fashion, where you can just buy something, wear it once or twice, and then almost throw it away, right? And there's this idea, and you said it again. That's like that wow piece, that signature piece. Buying clothes that last a long time is something that not a lot of people really think about these days. I feel like it's just like everything, if 3-second TikTok videos, 5-second this, 10-second that. Like no one's thinking about buying a jacket and having it for 10 or 20 years.
Right.
And I feel like that's so wrong. And I also, too, the brands aren't, not all the brands, some are, but they're not making clothes that are going to last 20 years and they're still charging a huge amount.
Huge
It,
amount.
it's, it doesn't make, it's like, I feel like there's this huge disconnect between like where the customer's mentality is and what the brands are delivering.
Right.
Like, I just feel like fashion's like a bit of a mess right now.
Right. It is, and I think it's a little all over the place, but I think if those brands got back to the in-store in experience and finding out what the consumer actually really needs and what they're looking for and what their desire is, it would be a game changer. And like I said, I know the frustration. I know how it feels to be excluded. I know how what it's like to shop online or whatever and see something that's a hot item that just came out that you're just it's just not accessible to you. But why? Simply because of my size? Is it just doesn't make sense to me. But I think if they start producing it and seeing that it would actually sell, it could kinda just start changing the perception of it.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's amazing that you're this passionate about it to build a company around it and really try to like push this message because you must have gone into so many stores and just been so disappointed to the point where it motivated you to be as passionate as you are today.
And that's just like with anything. I mean, you go to buy some cookies and the cookies just ain't as good. It's like, okay, well, wait a minute. My grandma used to make them this kind of way or whatever. Sometimes when you're in the midst of something, that's how great ideas come. It's like, okay, I can make this better, or you know what? I want to sell this kind of cookie. So I think that's what happens. And a lot of times when people are starting their business, at some point it has affected them. Either their love for it or, okay, I experienced it and that's like, well, I don't see the hype.
Yeah, there's the gap in the
They
market.
need to taste my blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, no, they haven't had this. Put it out there, and and sometimes it starts out in somebody's kitchen or whatever the case may be. So we all have like a passion for certain things, and whether we make our own business or whatever, even if I didn't make the Curve Authority, I still would still be fighting. But because I know that there are women out there like me with the desire, with the means to purchase it, because really we're the ones that's sustaining the brands, the mature women, because she knows what she wants. She's worked years at her job or whatever. She has the money to buy a luxury item or whatever. They're the ones that sustain it. The people that are modeling it, those aren't the people that are buying the clothes.
Mm.
It's the, 40 and up, 35 and up that are really out there purchasing it. So sometimes it would be nice to just look at an ad or whatever and see yourself in it.
It's got to be so frustrating to have the money in your pocket as a successful woman and not be able to find what you're looking for. And I don't, And I don't think there's one situation for a man to also feel that way. Like, I feel that's the real disconnect. Again, like when you go into a men's store, there seems to be plenty of clothes on in all sizes for all men. And like, I don't ever see a man going into a store and getting upset because they don't have his size or his style. And I just feel like the world is a little bit still skewed in that way where it's, that you're catering to men and the variety of men, whereas maybe women are
And
being a little
fashion is
more.
the only really the only industry like that because if I wanna drive a Lamborghini and I like fast cars, guess what? They didn't make one Lamborghini and they're not only gonna sell it to a skinny person.
Mhm,
If you got the coins, you can drive off with that Lambo.
mhm.
So it's with anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, and anybody that know me, I love cars.
Did you ever see, just as a huge tangent, did you ever see Shaq? Because obviously Shaquille O'Neal's a huge man, a 7 foot tall former basketball player for anyone out there who doesn't know who Shaquille O'Neal is. But he bought 2 cars and cut it in the middle, and he had to extend it. So then he like got the 2 cars reassembled so that the midsection was longer so that he could drive it in his frame because I don't know if it was like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or it was some sports car, but it was too small for him. So he bought 2 of them so that he could have like the cabin where the human sits behind the extended.
And I'm not mad at Shaq because when you have the means, you don't have to you ain't gotta exclude me because there's somebody out there that's gonna make this for me, and if that means me buying 2 cars and going over here to this body shop that's known for customizing and making it Shaq Diesel style,
Yeah.
guess what? Let's do it.
Mhm,
You didn't want me but guess what? Now I only proved to you, not only did I buy 1, I bought 2,
mhm,
and I'm gonna make it to fit me. That's creating your own space, your own lane.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's why I said it's the same thing in any market. It's like if it's a car that you want, and this we're using Shaq as an example, but he has the means to buy 2 Lambos because he wanted it.
Yeah.
And okay, they're not making it to fit me. I can get it done. I know a place that can. So now I'm gonna take your merchandise over here and I'm gonna make it work.
So you
Well, and it's not even their merchandise anymore because he bought it. It's his.
Yes, yes. So you mentioned earlier Ashley Graham, and just remembering she was like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. So you mentioned she had her own line at J.C.
Yeah,
Penney's.
I believe it's just been
Is there anyone else out there who's made success for themselves as a plus size model or a plus size personality or celebrity or who's also created a plus size line for women? Because I'm just
I mean, there's
curious.
tons of women that have like collabs and lines with other stores or whatever, like Gabrielle Union, she had her collab and her brand with, New York& and Company, and Gabrielle Union is not a plus size woman, but she collabed with a brand that carries plus size or goes up to a size I think they even go up to a size 20, maybe even more now, it's been a minute, but, I do know that so it's not just this is a woman that has recognized the need for that everybody wants to look good.
Mhm,
And she didn't exclude anybody. Like I said, she's not a plus size woman, but she, um, made a line that was accessible to everybody.
mhm,
She didn't exclude it because as an actress, her audience is a variety. It could be a male, female, it could be a plus size woman, a small woman, or whatever. She didn't leave not one person out of her, out of that demographic. She catered to everybody. So there's tons of women that have the size, be it just, I use Ashley Graham as because she does have a plus size line, but there's tons of women, celebrities that have created lines that have included the plus size market. And for that, we are truly grateful.
mhm,
But that's hard, like, when they don't have the brick and mortar stores that you having to buy online and you in between sizes and you're 'cause I'm sure any woman listening to me has bought 2 of the same item because they don't know if they're this size or that size and they get it and like, and they end up having to return one or whatever if it doesn't work or not. So there's gonna be always be something that we kinda have to adjust to, so, like I said, I am very grateful to all of the various celebrities who have made a name for themselves that are pulling back and giving back to the community or the plus size market and to the mature woman, so it's a great thing that they're doing.
mm. So today I was walking along Sunset. I went for a walk before you came over. Um, and I passed the Skims shop, right? Now Skims is obviously Kim Kardashian's undergarments clothing line, and it's not specifically for any kind of women. They have all sizes,
They do.
and they did a deal with Nike, and they did a deal with the WNBA, so that's amazing. But, like, do you see a brand like that maybe being more, open and available to all ranges of women's body types versus
Absolutely.
like, because I'm just curious because you were mentioning hosiery, you were mentioning
Mhm.
like undergarments and stuff like that that also aren't being like tested for women, and they're not
Right.
comfortable,
Mhm.
if you wear them for a long time, stuff like that. And I was just wondering, like, Skims is probably the most new
Mhm.
company that's out there who's in this marketplace in the undergarment world. I'm just wondering, like, are they getting the job done? Like, have you ever
I
had any experience?
getting the I feel like she really is getting people give Kim Kardashian a hard time, but in my opinion, she's a hard worker. She has an idea, she does it, and she works hard, she puts the work in. And I like the fact that she is including everybody in it. I was very, very, very impressed with her last collab with Nike, um, with all the models on they were on the steps of I can't remember what building it was. I would feel like it was in New York, but they were on the steps. But as the camera panned, she had every size, every color, it was a beautiful thing to see.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's like she didn't and this is coming from somebody, people could she has curves, but her curves are smaller than mine.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So in comparison, so for to see multiple, not one, she didn't have a token.
Yeah.
She didn't appease the masses. She had multiple women of all sizes standing on the steps, and they stood in unity. And that is what the Curve Authority is about, standing in unity, not excluding a standard size or not excluding a plus size. We're not saying get rid of this size. We want to walk hand in hand.
Mhm.
And that is what she demonstrated when she did that collab with Nike. On that, I thought that was an amazing visual. People can say what they want about her.
Mhm.
Hey, kudos, Kim.
Mhm.
Keep it going. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it was nice. It felt good to that's what I was talking about. It
Mhm.
felt good to see someone like me in it.
Mhm.
And that's what happens a lot of times. You can't it's hard when you've been told no so many times, it is very hard to visualize yourself in it.
Right.
So to see a brand taking what a lot of luxury brands feel is a risk,
Mhm.
to see her take that risk and put, a plus size woman standing on those steps with everybody and the vast like I said, the different colors and the vast sizes. It was I mean, it was I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm a fangirl, and feel free to call me, Kim, if you wanna do a collab, girl.
I would also love to have her on the podcast if you want. Yeah.
You see, we putting it out there, Kim, hey, call me, girl.
Yeah. She's probably just down the street. No, but that's great. So it's good that there's examples of it being done at
Being
least.
done.
Yeah.
And like I said, people they give her a hard time,
Yeah.
and but just imagine if she woulda gave up.
Yeah.
What if she didn't push? What if she got so discouraged of all the things that people are saying or whatever? Girl, she put her money where her mouth is, and the proof is in the pudding. She's doing it. So, girl, keep going. So, you know, that's why I said if she gave up, we wouldn't even be talking about the Skims line.
Yeah.
She didn't give up.
She would still be Paris Hilton's assistant.
But she had a vision.
Yeah.
She had a dream. She saw a need. She had the curves and everything wasn't tailoring to her. She made a space for herself and she took it and hey, she running in the lane by herself. I'm trying to catch up, girl.
So is there anything that we haven't talked about today that you'd like to bring up? Because we've had a really amazing, lively, wide-ranging conversation. Yeah.
We did. This was amazing. I'm just like I said, I am very thankful, very grateful for the opportunity first and foremost. And I'm just like I said, I know the goal is I wanna help as many people as I possibly can,
Mhm.
but the goal for me is if one woman sees me in the streets and says, "You know what? I saw your podcast," or I saw how you styled something out. I really like what you're doing." That's my motivation.
Mhm.
It's helping somebody, and like I said, if I can drill anything into anybody listening today is keep going. Don't be discouraged. Keep being present. Keep expressing your need for something or whatever. And that's with anything that you're doing. I'm passionate about it because it affects me.
Mhm.
And if I go quiet, guess what? I'm back to square one of them showing me men's clothes. You know, and I'll give you an example, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but I'm laughing when I was thinking about what I was gonna wear. One of the options was it didn't have a particular thing that I wanted, but it had it on the man's side. I was like, I ain't wearing that. I'm not. It's like I had to think about it. It's like this is what I'm fighting for,
Mhm.
to have my size in something. And it's important and sometimes we got to be able to walk away from something.
Mhm.
And if it means me saying, turning down something and hey, representing in something else, it is what it is. You just have to You gotta stand for something.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like I said, if I have to drill it to anybody, just keep trying. It's coming, and it may not be with the luxury brand or whatever. The goal is to feel good in your clothes, and the goal is to invest in yourself. We've gotten away from it. Invest in yourself and remember that first impression, you can't get it back.
Mm. Beautifully said.
You.
So where can people find out everything about you? Do you have a website, social media?
I do. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. We're trying to get on TikTok. We are on Facebook right now. My phone number, email, and everything is listed. I have a main link on my Instagram page that will take you to my landing page,
And that's the Curve Authority?
the Curve Authority, and it will show you different things. Here's like, yeah, my new cars, a little QR code, a little plug for the Curve Authority.
Mhm.
But yes, if you have Instagram, my main bio has a link in there. It kind of tells you all the articles, the podcasts that I've done, where you can go back and kind of look and just kind of seeing what the Curve Authority is about. Like I said, we're working on a television show where we could hopefully be doing some makeovers for women, and hopefully doing a cooking show soon.
Mhm.
Just kind of showing that women, we're multifaceted, and that's what the Curve Authority is. We do it all. We as women, we juggle it all. We manage everything for our families, be it the cooking. We play very many different roles in our life, and that's what the Curve Authority is. It's not just about fashion, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. And giving everyone a real dose of reality, like women come in all shapes and sizes.
All shapes and sizes. Absolutely. We come in all shapes and sizes.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing all that. And I'll put all the links and stuff in the description, and we'll go from there. And I wish you the best of luck in your venture.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. I love it.
Thank you.
You set the bar high.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Bye bye. And we're out.